Hello everyone, this is Lexicon coming at you with another budget deck tech video for EDH, and I'm calling this deck Fliers because this is basically the general strategy of our deck. So let's just get right into the deck tech. Our commander is Erin Ingiata. She is Azorius 3 mana, and she has Flash and Flying. And with her, we are able to look at the top card of our library at any time. And she has a really cool ability where you can cast spells with Flash or Flying from the top of our library. So sometimes we could just leave mana open on our turn and wait until one of our opponent's end step to flash things in, depending on what the situation is. So we can kind of like bluff and pretend we have removal or counter spells, so our opponents feel a little bit wary to play their cards, and then we sneak in cards. So let's get into the creature package. So we're playing Imperial Eagle as an anthem effect for our flying creatures. Fairy Mastermind is here to draw us extra cards when our opponents draw their second card each turn, or we can force our opponents to draw an extra card for 4 mana, and then we will draw two cards as well. Fairy Seer is a 1-drop, so when it ETBs, we can scry 2. Goldforge Thopterix gives our legendary creatures Ward 2, and it has Flying and Lifelink. Galweir the Windlord costs 2 less to cast as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards. It has Flying and Vigilance, and it's a 4/4 that gives our other birds Vigilance. Inspire Overseer is in here as a 2/1 for 3 that allows us to gain a life and draw a card. Jubilant Skybonder is in here because it forces our opponents to pay 2 more mana to have a spell to target one of our creatures. Judge's Familiar is a 1-drop that allows us to counter an instant or sorcery spell unless our opponent pays 1. So sometimes our opponents will tap out fully to play a spell, and all we have to do, if it's a spell that we don't like, we could just sacrifice Judge's Familiar to counter it. Kengi's Lieutenant has a cool ability. It's a 1/1 for 3, but whenever it attacks, other attacking creatures with Flying get +1/+1 till the end of the turn. Gira is another flyer, but it is a spirit, but it also has an ability that says whenever one of our creatures become the target of a spell or ability, if this is the first time that has happened this turn, we counter it. Linvala is in here as a way to either give our creatures hexproof or indestructible when we sacrifice it. So if they try to board wipe and we have Linvala on board, we can just sacrifice Linvala, and then we'll be able to counter that, not counter the spell, but either give hexproof or indestructible to all our creatures. Loyal Drake is in here because it's going to draw us extra cards as long as we control our commander at the beginning of our combat step. Metropolis Reformer is a good 3 mana 2/3 that has Flying and Vigilance. It gives us hexproof, so it protects us from direct burn spells or anything that targets us directly. And then whenever it is dealt damage, you gain that much life. Muldrifter is mostly in here for its evoke cost because we can evoke it for 3 to draw 2 cards. Nimble Obstructionist is a flash flying creature for 3/1, but we could cycle away for 3 to draw a card. But when we do cycle it, we can counter a target activate ability of something that we do not control. Ornithopter is here as a ramp flying creature. Pride of the Clouds is a 2 mana spell with Flying that gets +1/+1 for each other creature with Flying on the board. And for its forecast ability, which is 4, we can reveal it from our hand. If we do, we create a 1/1 blue creature token with Flying. Selfless Spirit is a 2 mana 2/1 flyer that we can sacrifice to protect our board. Sienna Eye of the Storm is in here because when it attacks for each number of other attacking creatures, we get to scry, so we could look at a bunch of cards and just order them in the way that we want. Siren Storm Tamer is a good 1-drop for 1/1, which we can pay 1 blue to counter a target spell or ability that targets us or a creature we control. Skycast Sovereign is one of my favorite cards in the whole deck because it's a 2 mana 1/1 that gets +1/+1 for each other creature with Flying that we control. And then for 4 mana, we can make a cat bird creature token with Flying. Spectral Sailor is cool because it's a flash for 1 blue, a 1/1, and then for 4 mana we can draw a card, which also never mind. I thought it worked with Fairy Mastermind, but it doesn't. Thunderclap Wyvern is a 4 mana flash 2/3 that is an Anthem ability, gives all other creatures +1/+1. Vega is in here for whatever case. If we do cast a spell other than our hand, we draw a card. Warden of the Evos Isle is in here because it reduces the cost of our flying creatures. And the same can be said for Watcher of the Spheres, which is another 2 mana creature. Well, this is a 2 mana creature, and whenever another creature with Flyer enters the battlefield, it will get +1/+1. And then finally, we have Windborne Muse as a flyer as a tax ability. So creatures can't attack us unless they pay 2 for each creature that is attacking us. As far as sorceries, we're going to be playing Lorien Reveal, which is a new card. So for 5 mana, we can draw 3 cards, or we can island cycle it away for 1 to get us an island if we need it. Ponder allows us to look at the top 3 cards of our library. We can draw a card, or you can shuffle the deck and then draw a different card depending if you don't like the 3 cards on top. Preordain allows us to scry 2 and draw a card. Serum Vision draws a card, then scries 2, and Wing Words is in here because it's always going to cost us 2 mana to play because we're going to always have a creature with flying. We'll draw 2 cards. For our instance, we have Absorb as a counterspell to gain us 3 life. Azorius Charm to either give our creatures lifelink if we need to gain life, or we can draw a card, or we can put an attacking or blocking creature on the top of its owner's library. Born Upon the Wind just lets us play our spells as though they have flash. We draw a card. Clever Concealment, one of my favorite cards because of the Convoke ability, and we can phase out all permanents, any number of permanents that we control. Dovin's Veto is to counter a non-target creature spell, and Dovin's Veto cannot be countered. Flawless Maneuver as a way to give our stuff indestructible. It will become free if we control our commander. If not, it will cost us 3. Generous Gift for removal. High Lane Knots is to tap a target creature. We get to scry, we get to draw a card. Lofty Denial is a 2 mana spell that if we control a creature with flying, counter target creature spell less this opponent pays 4. And if for some reason we don't have a flyer, we can counter target spell unless our opponent pays 1. Negate counter target creature spell, opt to draw a card and scry. Rally the Wings to untap all of our creatures and give them +2/+2. So this card can be a good way to end the game because we could just pump all our birds and then just take someone out of the game. Rapid Hybridization is a 1 mana instant spell to destroy a target creature, and then they make a frog, a 3/3 fog. Resculpt is similar in a way, but this one exiles an artifact or a creature, and its controller makes a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Swan Song is a 1 mana instant that we can counter target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell, and then its controller makes a 2/2 bird with flying. And then Unbreakable Formation is to give our creatures indestructible. And if we do cast it during our main phase, for whatever reason, we put a 1/1 counter on each creature we control, they gain Vigilance. And then we have the standard mana rocks. So there's only one artifact that I want to talk about, and that's Sword of the Animus. So it's a 2 mana equipped for 2. The creature gets +1/+1. But this is one of my favorite equipments because whenever you attack with a creature that has this equipped to it, you will get a basic land tapped and then shuffle your deck. As far as enchantments, we're playing Flowering of the White Tree as an Anthem ability. So our legendary creatures get +2/+1 ward, and non-legendary creatures get +1/+1. Ghostly Prison is in here for tax, and it works good with our other creature that also does the same thing. Omen of the Seas, we can flash into Scry 2 and draw a card, and then we can sack it to Scry 2. Propaganda is also another tax ability, and then Seal Away is a way to flash in and exile a tapped creature an opponent controls until this leaves the battlefield. And then as far as lands, we are running the basic lands, so the only ones that we really need to discuss are Castle Vantress, which allows us to tap 4 to scry 2. Mana Turves allows us to draw a card if we attack with 2 or more creatures, but we have to pay 2 mana. Reliquary Tower allows us to have maximum hand size. Rivendell is in here to scry 2 as long as we control a legendary creature. And we also play Secluded Step as a way to cycle away, or to cycle away to draw a card if we do not need it. And I believe that is it as far as the land base goes. This deck will run you about somewhere between 170 to 175. It's pretty cheap on Moto. I wouldn't assume that it's more than like 20 tickets, but I could be wrong. So it looks like that, looking at our mana curve, we curve out around turn 2. So by turn 2, we're already going to work, playing a bunch of stuff. So I really like this deck. This deck is fun. I played it several times online. I could have won a game with it if I just double blocked a trample creature, but for some reason I was unaware that trample damage goes over life gain, because I blocked the creature with where's the card? With it's in here, but it's the creature that says whenever it's dealt damage, you gain that much life. So I made a mistake, but it's fine. I had a good time playing that game. If I just double blocked, I would have survived the attack. I would have gained a bunch of life, and then I would have been able to eliminate my other 2 opponents. But you live and you learn. So I hope you enjoyed this deck tech. It will be uploaded to YouTube briefly, where you will have access to all my social media accounts and the Mox field for this deck. So I hope you have a good day and take care.